Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food with Keto Under 20 for another daily drop of what I'm thinking. Isn't it fun? Are you Keto Under 20? I am. I am at a loss for what to have for breakfast and lunch today, or my first meal and my last meal. And that's rare. Usually I've plugged it all in by the time I start doing a recording. So, yeah, I don't know what I'm having today. There's so many things going through my mind. I'm reliking the 30-day ketogenic cleanse. This is a most invaluable book. And ironically, I was listening to No Excuse Girl, my granddaughter in Hawaii, and wink, wink, and she's doing the 30-day cleanse. And so yesterday on my walk, I listened to her, I think it was days 8 through 14, and she was talking about certain recipes in here. And I decided to pull out my book and see which one she was talking about. And it looked delicious, as did a beef and charisse one. So I am going to Stop and Shop today with the purpose of buying a few items to do crock pot stuff. And I have a new crock pot. I have two because I make an enormous amount for Greg's family Christmas of kale soup. So I got this just a little bit smaller one, but it's, I'll be able to make like a week's worth of food out of it. I don't mind a week's worth of food being the same, although I'd never do the same for Greg. He's not a 2-day in a row thing, but he'll have it every other day. Anyway, so she was doing that, and then that was on my early morning, what I call dark walk, and then I did my rec center walk, and I found these two men called Too Fit, T-O-O Fit, and weren't they interviewing Maria on her cleanse and her recipes and her keto lifestyle? And she is pretty much dairy-free, and so the recipes take a twist and a turn that maybe some of you aren't familiar with no dairy, but it's delightful, and so I'm going to try some of it. And she rocks the keto world, and I enjoy her, so I'm gonna do that. But there they are interviewing her. I mean, how weird is that? That, like, I'm listening to No Excuse Girl, Esther, and she's, laying out how she did it and the meal prep that she did the night before. It's really nicely done. And if you do have the 30-day ketogenic cleanse by Maria Emmerich, and we're wondering, just maybe a little bit more than if you watch No Excuse Girl, you'll get the down low on it. Just saying. If nothing else, the pictures are just really good. And so anyway, just a little fun, a little set it and forget it for later on. And so I was listening to a podcast this morning as I walked in the dark, and it's very cold here, hence my North Face and my hoodie. It's 50. Oh, God. And Miss Joyce, I switched my bathrobes to the Johnny Appleseed one you gave me for Christmas, and it was way too cold. I was all set, and then it was like, oh, not yet. Yesterday it was 66. Yeah, move to New England if you don't like the weather. Wait a minute. Anyway, this one woman had written into this man that I was listening to, and she said that she loved the keto way of eating, and that she did it, she left it, and now she's trying to come back, and she can't get into it. The foods don't hold an appeal. And so the guy said, very dudeish, oh, like, why'd you leave it if you loved it? Right? It's like the woman that leaves a man for another man, and then after seeing that, 2 months of wild sex, probably has no place else to go but down, then she, says to her now new ex, let's get back together again. I learned a lesson. And he's like, get out of here. You devastated me. So, if the keto program worked for you, how come you left it? I guess I'm asking the same question. So if keto food suddenly seemed boring, not that because it was a reference right there, but she was saying that she would easily become bored with veggies and just meats. And so she wanted to try something that had a little more cooking challenge to it. And yes, it does seem to have a little bit more cooking challenge. And there's always that obscure ingredient, like the one that she made that she used fish sauce for instead of anchovies, because she didn't have any anchovies, and I'm fresh out of them too. Gosh. So if you're doing keto and you have a wave of getting bored or restless or FOMO, fear of missing out on what somebody else is doing, or some other internet scam food plan suddenly pulls you because it's like, oh yeah, I want that great big weight loss. And don't you know that anything worth having is really, it's work, it's devotion, it's determination. So if you have a boring spot with keto, it will pass. You don't need to give up keto and have a whole bunch of carbs just to see what you were missing and suffer the gaining and the emotional stuff and then the trying to get back and finding it's hard and then getting rid of all the carby stuff that you brought into the house because you were switching up. Trust. It's just like, it's just like relationships. Sometimes there's a spell. It's not chaotic. It's not dramatic. You're not cheating on each other, but it's just kind of ho-hum. Trust me, if you think that it's ho-hum and ho-hum enough that you need to add something to it to spice it up with a third party, and then you really get back to appreciating what you lost, trust me, at 66, I have regrets that at the time I seemed all in on giving up. And so if you're doing keto and you're adapted and you're going along, and no, you're not going to have second, third, and fourth whooshes. You're not. Somebody was stalled, and I suggested that they go to 10 carbs a day for the week. Just try it for a week and see if that jostles you. Now, some other podcaster might say, have a carb refeed, whatever that means. I think that's euphemistic for going out and binging on carbs. And it's not something that I would ever recommend. The only time that I would overindulge in carbs is to have a double load of Brussels sprouts. Yeah, I guess you could say I like my keto food plan. And it's not like I'm missing something processed, refined, sugary. I would just have more delicious Brussels sprouts because they're kind of high in carbs. So anyway, don't jump ship. The fear of missing out could be the consequence. And you jump over to something else because it looks good, it looks like you can do it. You can't do keto 4 days a week and then carb reloads 4 days a week or whatever. Remember that keto is a way of life. And if you're struggling to stay keto, he had another binger on besides that woman. And she kept doing keto for a few days and then high carb for a few days and then keto for a few days. And she was wondering, am I hurting myself? And he said, he was like, how can I even go there? Because it's like your body, you're just confusing your body. And so if you're having a struggle with remaining on keto, maybe it's not time for you to be on keto. For most of us, and that includes a lot of older people that have found it, they tried an awful lot of other food diet plans over the years that ended up not working for them. One woman here says, I did Weight Watchers 13 times, I did Atkins 3, and so on and so forth. And she's with keto for life now, and she's a couple of years older than me. So a lot of us that are older have done the work for you. If it's boredom and restlessness and thinking there's a better way, we already tried it. So making peace with keto could be what works for you. maybe having a few more carbs, like I've suggested. It's still 140 carbs at the end of the week, but one day you might have 30 and the next day you might have 10, just to offset just that restlessness until you can get back with what Keto Under 20 really means for you. I'm happy to be doing what I'm doing, which is Keto Under 20, and I'll incorporate these couple of new recipes with the crock pot cooking and have some more savory food with a salad on the side, and I'll be fine. There's something about being my age that lets me know that, like, probably what's already been invented food-wise we already have it. It's already here. There's like not going to be a new way or a new pill that's going to pull me from doing Keto Under 20. It's just not. I've struggled enough with what's out there and know that a high-carb diet isn't going to work for me. The addict might win, but then I'd be buying another wardrobe, and I don't want to buy another wardrobe. I like how I feel. I like how I sleep. I like my energy level and my mood, my balance. Now, to somebody younger, that might seem kind of boring, but yeah, I guess if I was looking at what I'm doing now 20 years ago, I'd say maybe that is boring, or 35 years ago when I could add drinking into it, because I was still drinking 35 years ago, but not 30 years ago. So yes, it might seem boring to an outsider, but to me it's comforting, it's security, it's sane, and there's a whole bunch up here that I want to keep this sane. I don't want to be cray-cray. And being crazy always has begun with me with food. And so the Keto Under 20, with all of the support that I get from other keto followers that are under 20, and people like Dr. Berg and Tim Noakes, and even Dr. Westman, and Dr. William Davis, all of the people and professionals and other keto people support me in the Keto Under 20. I mean, of course, they don't know me, but they're supporting me and validating that what I'm doing it's going to be for up here. And it's the up here that needs the handler. And the handler is all of the help that I get online and from you with your comments. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food with Keto Under 20. I'm not leaving, but I might be trying out these Maria recipes in the very near future, like 3 hours from now. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye for now.